Oh boy, it's late. Let's try to make this one quick. Tonight I watched The Suicide Squad. I was originally gonna go see it in theaters, but I thought, fuck it, why waste money? I have HBO Max, so I might as well just watch it there. From what I understand, a lot of people did that because this movie is not making a lot of money. It didn't make a lot of money in its first weekend, and I heard, from what I understand, it made significantly less in its second weekend. So financially, it's probably going to be a fucking disaster. But most of the movies this summer have been a fucking disaster, so it's not that bad. Not to mention they released it in August. August is really the dog days of summer. They don't release movies they have confidence in August. Now that's not to say that a movie can't be successful in August. There are plenty of movies that are, but still, nobody releases their big summertime movies in August. You release those in fucking May, June, and July. You do not release them in fucking August. August is where nobody gives a fuck about movies. Between August and like October, and like late October, is the point where is like a dead zone for movies. Sorry about that. It's like a dead zone for movies. So, in October is really just in case they want to release anything horror related for Halloween. Anyways, getting to my fucking I don't know where the fuck that tangent came from. I'm talking about The Suicide Squad, the movie directed by James Gunn after he was booted from Marvel temporarily. He's booted from making the third Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, the first one came out when it first came out. The first one came out in August, and it was a huge hit, which was really surprising to people because it was an August release for a movie property that probably shouldn't have worked. But it was a wild hit, and it put James Gunn on the map. And he was directed the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy. Then he was getting ready to direct the third one, and then some fucking conservative dickhead posted that he made a fucking child rape joke years ago and got him booted from Disney. And then Warner Brothers decided to give one big fuck you, double fuck you to Disney, instantly recruited him to direct their Suicide Squad sequel. And then Disney got pressured by the cast of the Guardians of the Galaxy to bring James Gunn back. And after that situation, he got to look Disney in the face and go, well, I'll gladly come back, but I've already agreed to do another movie, so you're going to have to wait. And they did. That is some fucking big dick shit right there. Jesus Christ, I went on another tangent. But anyways, this movie was made by James Gunn, and it's got a lot of his usual people in it, like his brother and Nathan Fillion and shit. But I digress. As the name suggests, the movie is about a government task force that's put together to do impossible black ops missions, and this group is all made up of costumed and superpowered criminals. And basically the deal is they do jobs for the government and earn time off of their sentence with each job they complete. The problem is they could easily be killed on the missions, and if they try to disobey orders or abandon the mission, they have an explosive planted in their head that can be activated by the people who are running them. The movie starts with a team of a Suicide Squad being assembled to invade a place called Corte Maltese. Corte Maltese is not a real place. It is one of those made-up comic book places like Santa Prisa or Latveria or Wakanda. These places don't exist. They were just made up for the comic books, or probably loosely based on something out in real life, but they aren't real. The first team I'm not going to go into in too much detail because, spoiler alert, they literally die in like 5 minutes. Or at least most of them do. That team is made up of... what is that team made up of? It's made up of this weird creature named Weasel. Captain Boomerang, Mongal, Javelin, TDK, which stands for the Detachable Kid, Blackguard, Harley Quinn, and they're led by Rick Flag. Now, there's a lot of recognizable actors here, like Javelin is played by that fucking German comedian Flula Borg, and TDK is played by Nathan Fillion. Oh yeah, and one of the main guys we follow around as the team gets recruited is this guy called Savant, who's supposed to be some expert killer, and he's played by Michael Rooker. And I don't know who played Mongal. Blackguard is played by Pete Davidson. And I think Weasel is depicted by James Gunn's brother. I'm drawing a blank on James Gunn's brother's name. Anyways, they get to the island. Blackguard betrays them. He gets killed. They all get killed trying to fight back. Well, not all of them. 2 of them escape. Well, no, one of them escapes. Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman, escapes and gets taken by some people with guns. And Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie, they're really... Besides Jai Courtney, who played Captain Boomerang, but he's only there for like 5 minutes, they're the only returning... No, I'm sorry, no, they're not. They're 3 of the 4 returning characters from the first movie. The 4th is Amanda Waller, who's played yet again by Viola Davis, and she's fucking great. Let's see. So all but those 2 get killed. But then you see that the whole reason that first team went to that side of the island specifically is they were meant to be a distraction. So nobody cared if they got killed. Because this other team was the one doing the main operation. Team 2. And you then go back in time and see how they recruited. The leader of this particular Suicide Squad team is Bloodsport, who's played by Idris Elba. And now, while he has the name of the original Bloodsport from the comic books, his look is completely different. Apparently it was a look they just made up for the movie because they thought it'd be cooler considering who the character is. And it does look way cooler. It looks so cool, actually. They now have that as the look for the newest version of Bloodsport in the comic books. There's been more than one. In fact, I think the one Idris Elba was playing has already died in the comics. Anyways, yeah. So Bloodsport leads the team. Uh, Along with him is Peacemaker, who's played by John Cena. Um, then there's Ratcatcher 2, who's played by Daniela Melchior. She's called Ratcatcher 2 because she's supposed to be the second version of Ratcatcher, which makes sense because despite dressing like the original version of, well, there's only one version of Ratcatcher in the comic books, it's obviously not the same person because the original Ratcatcher is a man. So obviously they changed his character somewhat for the movie, which is fine. Um, Another character is Polka Dot Man, played by David Desmalchian. Desmalchian. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Um, then, of course, there's last but not least King Shark, who's voiced by Sylvester Stallone. He's actually pretty funny. He's definitely the humor of the group because this is an action comedy. So the second team sneaks in unnoticed. As you see a group put together, Bloodsport seems to be the Bloodsport seems to be the main focus of the movie because he's kind of put in a leadership position of this team, which makes sense because Idris Elba is a huge star. So they break into Corte Maltese. And then they get a mission redirect from Amanda Waller, who tells them they found where Rick Flag is, and she's sending this second Suicide Squad team to go save him. And she basically gives them the orders: we only want Flag back, just kill everybody there, because they think he's been captured by government forces. Turns out he was taken in by a local resistance group. And see, the thing you gotta understand about Corte Maltese is like it recently underwent a coup where the ruling family was all killed, and now this new guy came in with a bunch of generals. So while the Suicide Squad is basically ends up killing all the rebellion people to rescue Flag while that's happening, Harley Quinn is getting an offer of marriage for the new president of Corte Maltese. For reasons that are never made completely clear, he basically just says, I have to get married and the people here love you, but they never explain why. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And, during their time together, Harley ends up shooting the new president because he reveals that he's just a fucking evil son of a bitch like their preceding rulers. She gets locked up again, and then the head general of all the generals of Corte Maltese becomes the new president. And you find out that Corte Maltese had this giant laboratory called Project Jotunheim, or just Project Jotun maybe, I forget what. And inside, it was just called Jotunheim. And inside is an experiment called Operation Starfish. And, what was I talking about? Okay, yeah, they rescue Rick Flag. Oh yeah, Harley Quinn kills the new president after he asks to marry her, because he also reveals just how horrible he is. The new general, the older general, takes charge, and it looks like he's going to be a way worse person to deal with. They rescue Flag, and then they have to return to the mission. Oh yeah, Project Jotunheim. Apparently, Project Jotunheim is this gigantic project that Corte Maltese has been working on for years, and it's the home of something called Project Starfish. and it's run by a criminal named the Thinker, who's played by Peter Capaldi. So the Suicide Squad has to make contact with the Thinker and then use him to break into the lab to destroy it. The Thinker. After they get a hold of the Thinker, they find out that Harley Quinn's still alive, and then Flag orders the team to go after and get Harley. But Harley, by the time they get to her, Harley's already managed to break out on her own. So she reconnects with the team, and they head out on their first outing in the woods. Or, no, wait, what? So they get Harley back, and then they figure out a way to break into Jotunheim. They use Peter Capaldi to break in, or the Thinker to break in, and then they go down to the sub-basement of the place, and that's where Flag and Ratcatcher learn exactly what Project Starfish is. It's Starro the Conqueror, a giant starfish that releases tiny spores of itself to latch onto people's faces and create a sort of, and grow its hive mind that makes it more powerful. They break into the place. They plant explosives to make the place blow up. The Thinker reveals that the real reason that they sent the Suicide Squad to the island is because what they were really supposed to do was recover all the evidence that proves that the United States government had a hand in the experiment that was going on. Oh yeah, the Thinker reveals that the United States government had a hand in Project Starfish from the beginning, because they show earlier that it was a bunch of United States astronauts that found Starro. But they knew they couldn't have it on their own soil, but they wanted to use it, so they made a deal with Corto Maltese, to thank them for their efforts. Wait, what? I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, so the Thinker reveals that the United States government had a hand in Project Starfish. Rick Flag gets pissed off about this and then decides he's going to take the hard drive that has all the information on it and send it to the press. That's when Peacemaker, who was upstairs setting explosives and had come down, reveals that he's been a traitor all along. He's been answering directly to Waller, and his job was to make sure that he either recovered or destroyed the driver's license information, and that he would handle it. I don't know what I just said. I think it was wrong. No. Okay, let me try that again. Peacemaker was sent by Waller with an express mission to recover or destroy the information so that the United States had a hand in Project Starfish, or it was his job to terminate anybody who didn't agree. Um, so he's supposed to stop anyone from taking the information. So this leads to a conflict between Peacemaker and Rick Flag, and then the explosives start going off, which then releases Starro from his prison, and he's spent decades being experimented on by the Thinkers, so he's not happy. Um, oh shit. Starro releases spores, or well, it shows the different places all the members of the Suicide Squad are in, and Polka Dot Man ends up saving the team he's with from attack, but he accidentally sets off all the explosives they have, and this causes a major early reaction, which, you send it to the others to, you know. Oh shit. Um. So yeah, it looks like Flag is gonna hold his own against Peacemaker and maybe even win the fight, and then Peacemaker kills him. Ratcatcher then takes the hard drive and he chases her down. Meanwhile, the other team made of Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Polka Dot Man, they get attacked by some soldiers. Polka Dot Man uses his powers, causes an early explosion, which causes a chain reaction with the other explosives. And, yeah, like I said, so that releases Starro. Um, Bloodsport sees a Peacemaker threatening Ratcatcher, so he just kills him. And, or at least shoots him in the neck. I don't know if he's necessarily dead. You never know with comic book related shit. Um, oh man, I'm so tired. Um, okay, so yeah. Starro gets released. He releases a bunch of spores. Takes the mind of the entire Corto Maltese, most of the Corto Maltese army, including its new president. At which point, his generals declare that one of them is the new president and is all celebrating about that and shit. Like, that was important right then. Their country's being attacked by a giant alien starfish. Did I mention the Thinker was played by Peter Capaldi? I think I did. But he gets killed by Starro, of course. Starro then takes over all the other military people there at the base, including the new president. One of the generals declares himself the new president, and then the oh man, I don't know. Yeah, so this giant kaiju monster escapes, and Waller tells them, like, that's not important. All we needed was the information and the project destroyed, and we're good. So this works out for us. And it looks like they're going to walk away based on that, but then Bloodsport turns around and starts walking towards the fight, and all the others help him. Oh man, I'm so tired. Yeah, so the squad looks like they're going to leave, but then Bloodsport turns around and starts heading towards the starfish, and all the others, Starro, I mean, then all the others follow suit. And there's just a bunch of people controlled by its spores feeding it. And they'll attack you, and it's pretty awful. Oh boy. Okay. Where was I? Oh yes, they turn around and start. Instead of walking away, Bloodsport turns around and starts heading towards Starro. The rest of the team follows suit. Waller threatens to blow up their head bombs, but then her own support staff ends up like knocking her unconscious and then helping the squad find the quickest way to Starro. They then basically all fight it, and Polka Dot Man gets killed during the fight with Starro. They eventually end up destroying the creature. Surprisingly enough, it's Ratcatcher who ends up killing it by sending a bunch of rats after it, including into its eye to eat its brain and everything. That destroys Starro. Bloodsport then uses the information connecting the United States to Operation or Project Starfish back home so his kid doesn't have to go to prison. And he's got some shit prepared for the Canadians barking sirens at him. Okay, so they kill Starro, blackmail Waller so they can all go free. Bloodsport blackmails Waller so they can all go free. They then walk away like a big old cheery happy family, which I don't like about that. That's not what the Suicide Squad is supposed to be, but that's the one thing I didn't like about it is like they were all just too chummy. They're all supposed to be kind of backstabbing. They're villains. They're not, they don't like each other. That was a problem I had with the first one too. But at least it didn't feel quite as forced this time. That felt like it happened a little bit more naturally. So yeah, that's that. And then there's like a little thing at the end where they reveal that one of the first team members, a creature named Weasel, who I think was voiced by James Gunn's brother, is still alive, and it got up the first night after everyone had left the massacre and just got up and wandered into the woods. So God only knows what happens there. And I think there was an after credit scene that revealed that Peacemaker was still alive, which would make sense considering he's getting a TV show. But yeah, this movie was I'll give it like one thumb up. It's decent. I liked it better than the first one. The first one was such a mess, because it was such like a obviously heavily edited, janky mess that had no real story and no character progression. And David Ayer constantly talks about how that wasn't his movie, and people say how they want to see his version, which they should probably just let him. But I mean, it was such a fucking mess. Give the man a chance. But I like this one better, even though it's obviously going to do worse. I also like that they gave a chance to characters we don't see as much, even in the comic books. I mean, they barely use Bloodsport anymore, but they'll probably use them in the Suicide Squad now. I think they already are, with his new look and everything. I think I already mentioned that. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get another sequel with these characters, or maybe we'll get new characters. That would be cool. I think I think it's the one cool thing that's cool about the Suicide Squad is they can change up the characters a lot. Don't get too reliant on certain ones. It's just, you know. But yeah. So, the Suicide Squad was a decent sequel. It was okay. Like most of James Gunn's movie, they range from pretty good to okay. And this was okay. So, yeah. I think I fell asleep during this a couple times. We'll see when I'm editing it. But yeah, this has gone on for too long. So that's that. Decent movie. Suicide Squad. Have a good one, folks.